The scream pierced through me like shattered glass slicing skin. I was barely 3 steps from the door when it hit. My daughter's voice, shrill with terror, trembling in a way I'd never heard before. "Daddy, help!" I dropped the grocery bag. Eggs exploded on the floor. Glass bit into apples. None of it mattered. I kicked the door so hard the lock groaned against the frame. And there he was, standing over her. His fist was tangled in her hair, yanking her back as she flailed, her small fists punching air. His other hand, God, was clamped around her throat. Her face was red, swollen, desperate. "Emily." And I froze, not out of fear, out of recognition, because I knew that man, the man I'd spent nearly 4 decades trying to forget. My father. There was no mistaking him anymore. And in that instant, I knew exactly what had to happen. He used to be my idol once. Tall, charismatic, a man who could silence a room with a glance. But love was never his strength, control was. He ruled by dominance, by shame, by quiet threats that looked like smiles. Jason, my brother, had always been the golden child, football captain, charming despite average grades. I was the quiet one. I built my life from nothing, graduated top of my class, bought my place at 32. A corner apartment with light that filled the rooms in the morning and peace that hummed at night. Then my wife died in a train accident, and everything hollowed. Emily was 6. She didn't understand mourning, only absence, so I held her closer, because she was all I had left. 2 months after the funeral, they came, my father and Jason. "We need to talk," he said, like it was a business deal. They sat at my untouched dining table. "I think it's time to sign the apartment over to Jason," he said, calm as stone. I blinked. "Excuse me?" Jason smirked, as if they'd rehearsed this in the car. "You're alone now, with a kid. You don't need this kind of space. Jason and his fiancée could use it." I laughed, actually laughed. Then I realized it wasn't a joke. I said no. That was the first crack in his mask. "You owe this family," he said, voice low and loaded. "I owe nothing," I replied. "Get out." He stood, leaned in close enough for me to smell the same cologne he'd worn since I was a boy. Still sharp, still oppressive. "You'll regret this," he whispered. 3 days later, I left to grab groceries. 20 minutes, tops. I never should have left her alone. I'd forgotten he had a key. He must have copied it years ago, back when I still mistook his intrusion for affection. He broke in, demanded Emily tell him where I kept the deed. She said no. Brave little thing, just like her mother. So he punished her, and the moment I saw his hands on her, something cracked open in me. I didn't scream. I didn't throw myself at him. I just told him, quiet and cold, "Let her go." He did. Maybe because he saw something in my eyes that even he feared. Emily ran. He smirked. "You made her weak." I stepped toward him. "You just made the biggest mistake of your life." He left in a storm of threats, still believing he held the upper hand. But he didn't know I'd had security cameras installed 6 months back. After the first time, he raised his voice at Emily and she flinched. He didn't know I had it all, every second of that attack, in 4K. And he didn't know who I'd been quietly talking to. First, I gathered the footage, left it raw, let it speak for itself. Then, I brought Emily to a trusted friend, a psychologist, who documented everything. The bruises, the fear, the nightmares. Next, I sat down with a lawyer. Quiet, sharp, meticulous. We built the case. Child endangerment, physical assault, coercion, and years of emotional abuse. Still, I wasn't done. Jason's wedding was a grand one. Lavish, funded by our father. I waited until the rehearsal dinner. Rented a small hall in the same venue. Invited carefully. My father's partners, his church's elder, Jason's fiancée's parents. Then I played the video. No speech. No context. Just that scream. The room went silent. A woman gasped. Someone whispered a prayer. Jason rose. My father turned gray. "I'm filing charges tomorrow," I said steady. "The authorities already have the files." My father stuttered, tried to twist the truth. I held up the documents. And in case you thought this was just legal, I turned to Jason. That anonymous tip about your tax fraud? The denied business loan? You're welcome. He looked like the floor had collapsed beneath him. I'd known all along. I just waited for the right moment. The court moved quickly. The footage spread through legal networks like fire. My father's name was mud. Sponsors vanished. His house? Vandalized. Not by me, but karma rarely needs direction. Just a gentle nudge. Jason's fiancée left 2 weeks later. Took the dog. And half the bank account. Emily's in therapy now. She sleeps with peace. Her door has a lock. So does mine. And the deed? Still mine. Sometimes people ask if I regret not stopping him earlier. No. I waited until every move counted. Because real revenge isn't loud. It's deliberate. Surgical. Now, every time I see Emily curled up safely in the room her mother once filled with sunlight, I know. I made the right choices. He wanted my home. I took his instead. His power. His pride. His perfect lie of control. All it took was one scream, one lens, and a plan sharper than his cruelty. He taught me power. He just never expected I'd learn to use it better than he ever did.